education director, Nikki. And in the course of that conversation, I learned so much about the programs and the organization's history, but I think the thing that is really pertinent to this notion of innovation and carrying Harold Oakes's demeanor and attitude towards the profession forward is really the things that I was able to learn about Stage's culture. Nikki told me how ideas are treated. And we all know that ideas are delicate things when they're introduced into the world. At Stage's, she told me that their artistic director will oftentimes come in saying she had a harebrained scheme, right, a dream that she had the night before. And the organization has a disposition to try to find the most elegant yes for that idea that they can. It does not become, when a new project is birthed, the sole provenance of one individual. If it seems like an education project, it doesn't become the sole responsibility of Nikki or somebody else in their education department. They try to find an institutional yes. And that, I think, is guided by their commitment to big goals. She talked a lot about how their commitment to strategic planning has them positioning themselves as a field leader, trying to grow as an institution and trying to serve more people. So while this is a theater company that has introduced a lot of world premieres into our field, many of those we have done at our own theaters, this is also an institution that has a deep commitment to accessibility. A couple years ago, they raised a lot of money to make sure that they never had to say no to a child or a school trying to participate in one of their programs. Their nominator was actually an individual at a school that they work with. And the nominator paid special attention to a program that I think should be inspirational to all of us right now. It's something called Perspectives on Peace. So Stages goes into schools. They do a residency that asks students to reflect on this question. What does peace mean to you? And though Stages operates out of Hopkins, Minnesota, very close to Minneapolis, they have taken this program statewide. And Nikki told me about the experiences that they had in their downtown community just a couple years ago, right after there had been a young African-American man shot by police, and what the students were saying at that moment in time when they were in the middle of a residency. Statements that shocked their teachers in terms of their awareness and their sense of optimism in the face of a community that was really in danger of being quite torn apart. And she also shared stories about taking the program to a really rural part of Minnesota, where mills had shut down and students were oftentimes left to basically raise themselves. And so the answers that came out of this community were quite different from the ones that they found in Minnesota. And I think that as we all, as theater practitioners, aspire to create change in the world, this is a program that Stages should be particularly proud of, that we should all be particularly grateful that they are introducing into the world. I would encourage you to approach Nikki and learn more about it through the course of this conference, because it was incredibly inspiring to me. So I am thrilled to give this award, the Harold Oakes Organizational Award, to Stages Theater Company.
It's an honor that we hold deep because this work is so important. The key word in this program is perspective. We are not teaching young people what their perspective should be. We are teaching them to have one, to own one, to create one, to shine with one. And that's what makes this project so important to me, to our artists who come from every walk of life, to the students we serve. I tell people, when we all do our job right, we are creating humans that will later support the theaters that are serving grown-ups, right? So our job is to instill in them a responsibility for serving others, serving themselves, and serving our field. And we are so honored to take our work all over the state and to talk about peace. I would ask you to close your eyes right now. What does peace mean to you? And open them. I guarantee you it is different for each and every one of us, just as it is for each and every one of them. What they do with that is they create art, media art, music, spoken word, dance, and they use only their words. They're not using mine. But what we hope to give them is a toolbox that they will take later. And that's what we should all be doing. I thank you for recognizing this amazing organization that serves so many. And I thank you for being a light in the storm for so many young people and for doing the work that you do. They are nothing without us, and we are nothing without them. Thank you.